Obviously disappointing result, but Limerick the master there in the second half.
Yeah, I suppose there with a few minutes to go, you're looking at the field now and you're saying they were really in full flow at that stage, and very, very impressive to watch. And yeah, so look, we spoke beforehand about playing the game in our terms. Probably went like that for the first 22, 23 minutes, but thereafter they rested the back, and we really struggled from there. I think that the second goal was obviously a killer. I think it was 115, 116 at that stage, and we just panicked a little bit. We had the danger sniffed out, and then we panicked a little bit, and lack of composure maybe, and then they get the second goal, and they just kicked out from there.
You set up really well at the start, Henry, in the sense that Brian Cloncannon went very, very deep and marked space, so to speak, but got onto his side of ball as well. Sean and Ann on the far side of the field did likewise, and you got into a good position. I think you were 6 points up 24 minutes in.
Yeah, no, we started the game very, very well, and maybe that's just that we had that extra match, in between, and I suppose we were wondering would we go with Cottle sitting back as the +1 again, and we decided against it. We said, look, we really have to approach this because we know Limerick would have their homework done. They'd just play around us, and I thought we started very strong. Our puckouts were obviously working very well, but as I said, then they just started to get their turns back, and going in half time 1 point up, felt like it wasn't just enough for ourselves again, so and then as I said, you're hoping, we knew Limerick are a strong quarter 3 team, and you're hoping just to stay in the game and start to come a little bit, but as I said, all the momentum, it was like as if they were just starting to really get going and ratchet it up, and we were putting out fires all over the place, and just that middle third, the half back midfield, half forward line, they just started to dominate there, and we just couldn't get any foothold at all in the game.
I think that happened after about 24 minutes. I think Brian Cannon's shot was cleared off the line by Mike Casey. They went down the field. Dara Donovan got a point. Instead of going maybe 8 up, it was back to 4. And from then on, they just squeezed it, particularly in that middle third, and their power really took over in the second half.
Yeah, they were very, very impressive, So, but I said that we tired. Probably some of our players didn't play to the level that they'll be very disappointed themselves. And I think as a collective, you'd have to be disappointed because. I spoke during the week with yourself, and I said I felt we were in a better place this year to really attack this game and go at it. So, and I just think the body of work we've done all year set us up nicely for that. So, we're very disappointed now heading back down the road because we brought a lot of fight to it last year, and that fight just kind of went out. It was during the second half a little bit, which is very disappointing and very disappointing for our supporters who are travelling in great numbers.
From a primary possession objective, obviously in the second half, you didn't seem to be able to win any of that primary ball, and I suppose it's something that's been seen in Galway teams for many, many years. I know in the first half, Keenan Fahy, Conor Whelan, these guys won ball, but in that second half, Kyle Hayes, Jeremy Burns, they took serious ball out of the air. The primary possession is huge, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is. But as I said, we were probably dependent on set play and movement to win the ball. And when Limerick snuffed that out and it became a man-on-man battle, they were the ones dominating that area. And even when the ball broke, then they just had bodies back. So, look, they're just a serious team, and I have to give full credit to Limerick and what they performed. And the way they did it today, even compared to last year, I just thought they were fully deserving winners. But for us, obviously, just that is the disappointing part, because that's when you get to this level, that's where it matters, is those man-on-man battles. And they just won far too many of those today.
What do you take from the year from a Galway perspective? Obviously lost the Leinster final, beaten today as well, started really well, but in the end Limerick well on top.
Yeah, so it's funny, like at this moment in time it feels very disappointing, because obviously last year we stood here and we were very proud of our performance and we pushed them really, really hard, and that's why we felt we had a right chance today. And so it is disappointing, right disappointing at this moment in time, because it feels like this year wasn't good. But when you reflect on it, I think we've more patches of good play, and especially again that first 20 minutes was very good play. It's just and I hate using the word, the inconsistency of that was hurting us. But I definitely see this year there was definitely better play during the year. But said it's all about results, and that's where I came to Galway to do, is to get results, and we haven't got any for the second year, so it's very disappointing.
And people talk about Limerick and trying to break their system. Teams haven't done it for the last number of years. They're back in an All-Ireland final. They're just an unbelievable outfit, aren't they?
They are, yeah, and for our players, they just need to realise that, and when the dust settles and look at these players and see the level they're at, because that's it. That's the bar, and if you're not going to get up there, you're not going to pass them out. So, yeah. But they're just an unbelievable team, and that bit of bite and that bit of freshness was very evident, and they're powerful, just powerful, but serious hurlers as well.
Henry, the couple of minutes when Nicky Quaid seemed to need a bit of attention, do you think that broke your momentum?
Sure, of course it is, because we were all shouting that we felt it was, so it was definitely, there's no doubt about it did, but that shouldn't impact, to be fair. They obviously just reset a little bit, they dragged loads of bodies out to the middle, and they just leave Aaron or Seamus up top on his own, and they get the terms back because they're so powerful around that middle. But look, everyone knows that. Everyone knows you have to go out and play against it. So, but obviously they have the experience and the guile, but they have the hurlers as well, and that's the most impressive thing about them.
Do you think it was just their reaction after that, or did your guys start thinking about the lead they had a bit, or a bit tentative? Or?
No, I don't think so. I think they actually just grew into the game. I've been there myself, where you've had a break and it takes you a little bit of time to just really get going, and that's probably what was happening with Limerick. They were just starting to get up to the championship intensity, which they hadn't had the last few weeks, and they looked very fresh, they looked very hungry, and obviously, again, the experience of managing that 4 weeks really stood to me, I think. But yeah, we needed the second goal, and I thought James was harsh on Sean Lennon down by the sideline when we had that ball there. Time the second goal. Yeah, it was probably a little bit harsh. It wasn't probably too much in it, but still from there we should have cut out the danger. And once they got the second goal, it really felt like there was only going to be one winner, which is very disappointing for us, because that's where that test of character, which we've spoken about all year, really comes into it, and we just didn't have that today.
It's still a long way to go. It kind of felt over, but there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, there was, but the game was starting to turn in that way, and that just whole middle zone and their half back line, and Kyle and Dermot Burns were really thundering into it. So yeah, it did feel like that, but we didn't have that energy. We didn't have that, that buzz that we brought for the first 20 minutes was completely gone out our side. And as I said, the terms were very much in Limerick's.
Are you surprised we're going to do outside the back?
No, not really, no. 'Cause you hear all these rumours, there was loads of rumours sitting around. I felt it was probably the most fluid movement, so that they weren't going to upset 3 or 4 different lines to have different players in it. So, not really, but as I said, it didn't really matter to us. It was more about what we were going to bring to the party, what way we were going to do. And obviously we did that for a period, but after that, it wasn't good enough.
I'm impressed with their hunger levels when you consider going 4 in a row. You guys did with the Kane, and you still going that rapidness in the second half. How impressive is that?
That's so impressive, I think it's just, but it's a testament to the management team and to the players involved, and they have the best players in the country, and the most of them, so, and that's what it is, and that hunger and desire is true, and that's the reason why they're still going. And that consistency for any of us in any sport, when you look at it, the consistency, the hunger to keep going to the well is very, very impressive. And I was hoping we could keep it tight and bring it down the home straight like it was last year, and I felt we would really have a chance then. But no, you just have to say that they were just brilliant, and they got better and better as the match went on. And it's 2 weeks of the final, which probably suits them again, and they're just in prime condition now to attack that as well.
Do you think the longer break they had made a difference in the second half?
I think they're so used to it. I think they're able to time it. They know how much training load and stuff like that, so you're experiencing that. But their hunger and their freshness seem to be back in their players again after a tough months of the championship, no doubt. So it definitely stood to them, I'd say, yeah.
Okay.
That period after the confidential where you mentioned how they adapted, I know it's easy to say it's hindsight, but at half time, do you think anything you need to change? Was a different question to them coming up after the break, or was it just about trying to stay tight?
Well, we tried to do something different, but it didn't really work, to be fair, so, and we tried to get Cottle deeper and into the middle and kind of clog that middle area. We didn't want to put Cottle all the way back, because they'll just play in front of you and around you, and they're just runners everywhere. And that was the big evidence, I'm sure you see it, is that they just give a ball, but next thing there'll be 2 or 3 lads coming left and right, and they play those triangles and they suck you out, and then they just pump it inside to Seamus and Aaron. So they have a very good system, we all know it, but it's very hard to play against it. But if your half backline is dominating that zone, it's very hard to get a foothold, and we just couldn't. To be fair to Bean on Keenan at the beginning of the match, I think really troubled them. But thereafter, then they just closed those gaps, and they just were ravenous, I think, for work, and they just brought that to the game. Good stuff, lads. Thanks.
Stacey, you wouldn't say that audio, would you?